Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special episode of Saturday Morning Comics. Today, we are joined by a special guest, indie darling and the Kickstarter king of comics, Kristian Herrera.
Hey.
Thank you. I appreciate that intro. I love it. And that will forever be on all my social media accounts. So thank you.
Nice.
So, Kristian, give us a little bit of background on you and your body of work.
Yeah, I've been making comics, I think officially 6 years. I originally went to school to open up my own comic book store, and then as I was trying to figure that out, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make a comic, see if I want to do that, and I fell in love with the process. And made some short stories here and there. And then I think my first big project that I did, kind of funded it myself, was Sidekick for Hire, which was like a 5 issue story. Took a while, but I got it all together. People really enjoy it. And then I made a few other ones, a short story prologue. And then I'm currently working on my new series we call The Myths, which I think is doing way better than some of my other stuff.
Yeah, I got some background. I met Kristian and the artist.
Colton.
Go ahead and remind me of his name.
Colton Mastic.
Yeah. I met those guys at C2E2. I started at Mastic's table, and he's like, "Oh, buy this." I was like, "Okay," and he's like, "And the writer's here also." So I wander over to Kristian's table, and is it your wife or your girlfriend?
My wife. Yeah.
His
usually
wife
see me at shows, my wife is there.
His wife was there at the table, and I was like, "Hi, I'm here to get this signed. I guess this is the writer, right?" And she's like, "Yeah, he's currently out looking for Pokemon cards. You'll have to you'll have to come back later." So I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. I love my wife to death. My wife loves me, luckily. Anytime I do like a convention like Chicago, like I'm from Atlanta normally. So she's like, I ask her if she wants to go with me. That way she can bring me lunch. I can technically write it off as a business expense, and it all works out. But she likes the arts. She doesn't care about comics. She doesn't care about like Pokemon cards or anything like that. Uh, and so I think it must have been Sunday. That was the day.
Yeah, I think it was
Yeah,
Sunday.
because I was like, I'm doing well. I'm selling our comics like hotcake. It's going really well. I'm like, I need you to stay at the table for a moment while I go see these Pokemon cards. And I bought like a bunch of like $1 to $2 ones. But she was she was totally cool with it. She likes to joke around that she's doesn't like it, but she does think the art's pretty cool. But it's very funny when I'm like, yeah, this is my business. Anyways, I saw Pokemon cards. I'm gonna go spend money on that.
Yeah, I was just so caught off guard because
Yeah.
it's just like, he's around here somewhere. I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay."
It's really funny because like so one of the things that Cole and I were doing, anytime someone bought one of our books, we would split like whatever money we made. But I would start sending people his way, put on like a sticky note, what table number he's at, and then I would ask people, be like, hey, can you just mess with them a bit? Can you be like, hey man, the writing's really good, but the art kind of sucks. And like he was like, okay, I'm gonna start sending people over to your way. And there was one guy he sent over my way, and the guy comes up, he's like, hey man, you might sign this? The art's not that good, but the writing is really good. I said, well, that's fine by me because I'm the writer. That's totally cool with me.
Yeah, I think he told me something along the lines of he's all the way over there because we can't be close to each other.
Yeah. If if you ever see us at other shows, I'm waiting for a day where we're both on a panel because it's just gonna seem like we don't like each other because we just my favorite story. I'm gonna tell you this one really quickly. My favorite moment was I was starting to like on the sticky notes write his name on there, and then I would misspell his name on purpose. So I would do like coleslaw, Coldplay, things like that. And then I would start giving him like other titles as like Stinky Man Colt. And he at one night after the show, he came up to me and we were going to dinner. He's like, yeah, one of them really pissed me off today. I'm like, oh, what happened? He's like, I went up to go use the restroom. I walked like 5 feet. I saw somebody with their comics walking up. I was like, all right. He came up. He's like, you need me to sign that? And the guy was like, yeah, are you King Stupid Colton? And it was just the dumbest thing. And he's like, F you, man. Whatever. Give me the comic. He just signed it and went to the bathroom.
Yeah, so I actually bought some prints from him first. And I've been kind of eyeing the comic like from the start, like from Friday. I saw because I thought it was interesting, one, how far they did actually put you guys apart. And like seeing it at two different booths, and it was a little bit of confusion on my part because you have this brand, Cool Ranch Comics.
Yeah, that's my own like official business name.
Yeah, and I see that business, and I'm like, oh, they must be like some sort of like indie publisher. So as like, oh, here's that, and then here's this guy. So this guy probably worked on the comic. I don't know about that first booth, but yeah, his art's awesome. Like Spawn here is the one I gave the prints to. It's a bunch of Daredevil prints, and they're hanging on the wall, I'm sure.
Yes, no, they're right next to me actually. I keep them on my desk, but they're amazing, man. I love them so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not the one.
I
That is
only
not the
know-
one.
No,
It's
Yeah,
one of them was the like no.
those are all
I
the
know.
ones.
I'll do this.
He's in the yellow. He's in yellow.
His looks a little bit more Mignola.
Yes, it is on my wall.
Yeah.
It is on my
Alright, go. Way better. I'm glad his is on the wall. That's actually a better design.
wall. No. I so appreciate those prints because there's the two Daredevil ones, and then there's also the Absolute Martian Manhunter one, which is just oh my god, amazing.
That's a great story.
Full transparency, I tried to get both of you guys on here, but he said I don't talk much.
That's very much how it works. Cause he and I text about the comics and all that, and like he'll talk to people at shows and all that. He doesn't love doing interviews, which is totally fine. Because I think I told you, I was like, yeah, I texted him about it. I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I love the sound of my voice. It's cool. You know what I mean? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. That was the thing. He very much making this comic together. It's been a lot of fun doing this series. He's an amazing artist. He's someone who does a killer job. He just kind of wants to draw and like have fun. Like there's a lot of things even in our comic you'll see in the background of like the shops names and everything and the business names. That's him. That's him just being like, this is dumb. I'm gonna make it laugh. And I enjoy working with him. I do a lot of like the business side of things as well, along with the writing and trying to get the story together and getting people together. And like he knows how to talk to people. He just hates doing the interview parts.
How did you guys like first start working with each other?
We both checked out each other's work at one point. I think he read Prolong or Sidekick for Hire for me, which was one of my other stories prior. And he really dug it. And then I read his Starburn stuff, and I really enjoyed it. And we're like, hey, maybe we should work together. I was like, yeah, let's see what we can come up with. And then we were talking through Twitter before it became like the cesspool that it is. But like, we kind of just hit it off. We were just chatting for a long while. And then it became like, all right, let's figure out it's just something we can work on together. Let's see what we're into. And he wanted to do a monster story of some sort. I was like, yeah, let's figure that out. He's like, yeah, what if it was like a monster hunting story? I didn't love the idea of doing a hunting story. I kind of want to do something where they were maybe helping them and kind of like expanding like a world of that. And he dug that, and it became a buddy cop story. And then he was like, can one of them be a robot? I really like drawing robots. And I said, yeah, absolutely. Let's try that out. And it worked out really well. And as we kind of gotten further and deeper, it's just like we figure things out of going back and forth. Like there are certain things that he does where I'm like, yeah, that's 100% his idea. Or there's something like I present an idea And then he's like, okay, I'm going to do it like this. Or he'll present an idea. And then I'll be like, oh, that should actually be changed like this a little bit. He's like, yeah, that works out way better. So,
Awesome.
like, even in the first issue, there's that sewer chasing,
Mm-hmm.
which I had it where I was like, yeah, it's going to be point A to point B. Like,
You did the like map. Yeah.
Yeah. And he sent me a really rough sketch through like text and being like, hey, what if it was like something like this? Like, can I get like a half a page? I said, just get a full page, whatever. We can make it work. And it worked out really well. And I get the most compliments on it. And it's something I had the least to do with. Because I just said, I'm going to do a sewer chase scene probably.
Sweet there.
It is absolutely insane how good he does it.
So, what got you into comics, and like, where did all this love for this medium start?
Yeah, it's funny. I think I've gotten the idea down by now. Because like I read comics back in elementary school, but I picked them up from the library, like back when, God, I think I was like 5 or 6. My mom and my grandmother would take me to the library, and I would pick up books here and there. But then I found like Ultimate Spider-Man by Brian Michael Bendis and Mark Bagley, and then I would also be reading Dragon Ball, like the manga. And it was like a lot of fun. But I remember like I really liked Dragon Ball, but then I was like really falling in love with this Ultimate Spider-Man, like from the origin story, and it doesn't feel like the old style comics. It was just a retelling. Mm-hmm. So I've always kind of loved comics from that point, and then I fell off. I think like everyone does, like later middle school when you get bullied for liking certain things. Yeah. And then at high school time, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna let me see what other comics I can get into. And it was 2011, and that's when 2 things were happening, which was the New 52 relaunch for DC, which was a perfect time for me to get back in the comics. And then Ultimate Spider-Man was transitioning to Miles Morales' Spider-Man. And so I got to read the introduction of Miles Morales. And I was like, I really love this. I got to read New 52 Batman. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. And that was when I started realizing there was actually creators of it. And I was a person in high school just sharing comics to everyone. I'll be like, you got to read this. You got to check out this. You got to read this Walking Dead comic. You got to read The Invincibles. I was just sharing everything. So that's kind of where the love came from and why I originally wanted to do a comic book store, because I was my high school comic book store.
No, that's awesome, because like I kind of remember when the New 52 was like becoming semi big, and so I like it. Just like it's so interesting to hear how many like people have the same kind of like points where they're like, oh yeah, this was getting me into comics, and then this was getting me into comics, and it's just so funny you keep bringing up this comic book store, because we're always joking around that we're gonna open up a comic book store in the next 5 years.
Yeah, it's still something that's kind of like in the back of my mind of something eventually, but I think my love and passion is just making comics right now and growing that business. Eventually, who knows, I'll open up my own store, like somewhere around me, and it'll be Cool Ranch Comics comic shop. So,
well, whenever you do, you will have 3 customers for sure.
I appreciate it.
It'll be a bit of a trek, but
yeah, I'm a
buy a plane ticket.
Yeah,
it'll be worth it though. Yeah.
As long as we can maybe like get like a backup ribbon for us to cut. You know, you can cut like the main ribbon, but like just give us like maybe a smaller ribbon with a smaller pair of scissors.
I'll probably just retape the ribbon. That way when you guys come, you guys can just cut. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what and we'll show up like a week later, like after the grand opening.
Only 5. But yeah.
So on our podcast right now, we're currently reading or everyone besides me rereading Watchmen.
Okay. Right.
What are your opinions on Watchmen?
Can I ask what your guys' opinion is before I give my opinion?
I don't like it.
Okay.
I think it's an absolute snooze fest.
Okay.
And I feel like the life is being drained out of me every time I turn a page.
Gotcha. All right. What about the rest of you guys? Same feelings? Different?
Well, I mean, I just finished it yesterday. I think it is the most overrated / underrated book out there. It kind of broke
So
me,
properly rated.
honestly.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much to talk about with it.
Yeah.
So, at least for me, I've read and watched every piece of Watchmen media that exists. Don't ask me why. I'm still trying to figure out that answer. So I reread this. I think it's fine. I think that it's good for what it is. I think it gets up its own ass a little bit at times, but I do think it's a really good
Classic
book.
Alan Moore.
Classic Alan Moore. But I think it's a good book. I just don't think it's done the best for the industry as a whole.
I'm okay. I'm curious by like what you mean by not the best for the industry, because part of me somewhat agrees with it.
So, okay, Watchmen comes out in 1986, 85, approximately.
Okay.
And then so we have this, all of a sudden we have this movement in comics where everything needs to be way too dark and way too edgy. And we feel that with the Superman comics of the 90s, we feel that with the Batman comics of the 90s, and all this other stuff. And although we have moved away from that, I still feel like there's a lot of comics out right now that are trying to be the next Watchmen.
Yeah.
And I feel that they are chasing that too much. I also think that DC inherently is chasing on to the idea that they have the Watchmen IP with doing stuff like Before Watchmen in 2011, or the different miniseries that they've done.
Doomsday Clock.
Doomsday Clock, or like the Rorschach book that Tom King wrote. And it's like they're milking the hell out of it, and it's and that's why I think it's just become, it's such a, like, you still feel its ripples even though it's like just kind of there.
Yeah. My opinion on it, and it's a little bit more the in between of it. I think it's a good story. Do I think it's the best comic story in the world? No. It also came out 40 years ago. But I do think that it did for comics what The Dark Knight did for superhero movies, where when it came out, this was something crazy. It was something really good. It was more grounded in realism, and it was done really well for what it was. And then afterwards, like you said, everything tried to do that as well. If you think about for Dark Knight, they did that for like a more dark and realistic Superman. They tried doing a dark Spider-Man movie, a Fantastic Four. Everyone had to do like that edgy, like more grounded stuff, and it just doesn't work for that. So I think Watchmen did really good. I think it hit a certain cultural point. It was that and Dark Knight Returns, the other comic that came around the time. Those two hit a certain point where it's what the comics needed, but then everyone tried to do that, and it just kind of oversaturated everything. I like Watchmen. I don't love it. I'm one of the people where I'm like, I get it. I get why it's so popular. I don't agree with it. I get why DC screwed over Alan Moore.
Yeah.
I get why Alan Moore hates superhero comics now. That it was something different during that time too, and it was something that I think people tried to. I'd be lying if I didn't say I tried taking like idea of realistic superheroes from Watchmen for my other stories that I've done. But it's just, I get why people get bored with it too. It does feel preachy, but did you guys watch the Frankenstein movie?
The newest one that came out?
Yeah.
I watched it at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
But some people didn't like it because there was a line in there that's like, they say the Frankenstein monster isn't the monster. Dr. Frankenstein's the monster.
Yeah.
Very cheesy line. But that was the line from the book from like the late 1800s. It makes sense for that time where before everything else was like that. So I kind of see it through that lens as well.
So you're calling Alan Moore a monster?
I'm calling Alan Moore, if he somehow leaves his castle, his hovel, and whatnot, and here's this interview. I'm calling Alan Moore a genius, and I would love to just talk to him. I don't know if I would agree with everything he says, but he did some cool stuff. I'll be honest. My hot take on Alan Moore is that I think his Swamp Thing run is really good, but I'm too stupid to understand.
Never
Watchmen,
read it.
I think it's great. Watchmen is something where the masses can understand, and I'm like, I get that.
Except the pirate ship parts.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's like expanding the world. Everyone has like their superhero world. I think anybody who wants to make a superhero comics, like, I have like this whole expanded universe idea that they want to do. And it's just, a lot of it just doesn't make sense. So yeah, he does what every young, including myself, comic creator wants to do with like a superhero universe.
I think he's like 90 now, so I don't know how young he was when Watchmen came out, but
I think he was like,
he would have been like a 50, 40.
I was thinking of 50.
I just don't want to say. I think he's.
Well, like, I think he's like timeless. He might be like 1,000 years old. So
He's like a mortal vampire.
yeah.
So since we're talking about Alan Moore and clearly your love of Alan Moore, if you had like a Mount Rushmore of writers, who would they be?
Sorry, Alan Moore, you're not on there for me. Is it Mount Rushmore of like
your
own
favorite?
person?
Your favorite.
Cool. I would probably put Brian Michael Bendis because the Ultimate Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
I would put probably Matt Fraction because I really loved his Hawkeye run, his Sex Criminals run.
Batman's going crazy right now.
Yeah, I only read the first issue of the new Batman run. That's so wild. I'm building a house. I can't keep buying comics, too. I'm trying to make my own.
He's gonna start plastering them inside the walls.
Yeah, it gets a lot on there. God, who else would be like top notch for me?
There's one name I need you to say. Comic writer from the late 80s, early 90s.
I don't know. Is it Frank Miller? Because he's not.
No!
I was thinking it was Frank Miller.
Oh, I know exactly who it is.
I have no idea. I think all mine are going to be like mid 2000s to like late 2010s. So I think Kelly Sue DeConnick, I know like Matt Fraction and Kelly Sue are married, but like, I don't know if you guys ever read Pretty Deadly or Bitch Planet. That stuff it's out there. It's cool. It's like someone who's like, hey, I have a voice and this is what I'm going to tell stories about. So I really enjoy that. Man, fourth one's always hard. It's funny. No one's ever actually asked me this about writers. I'm trying not to give you guys so much dead air while I think about it.
No, it's fine.
Just say Grant Morrison.
Oh, you're gonna be so disappointed in me.
What?
I feel the same. I feel the same way about Grant Morrison that I do about Alan Moore Swamp Thing.
Yeah, but Grant Morrison's cool.
Yeah, I can't understand him. I feel so dumb every time I read his comic. I'm like, I know this is good. I can't tell you why. I don't understand any of this.
It's kind of real.
I've read his Justice League run. I've read like did he do Transmetropolitan Man or something like that? Yeah, read that. No, wait, no, that was Warren Ellis. Animal Man. I've read that. Still don't understand it.
Batman, Doom Patrol.
Yes, don't understand it. Every time I read, I'm like, I feel like an idiot. The only run that I really enjoyed was his Batman and Robin run, where Nightwing was, or Dick Grayson was Batman.
Such a good run.
Yeah, that one I'm like, I get it. I understand it. This is
Batman, no here.
It's wild to say how, like, talk about how stupid I am while I tell people, like, yeah, buy my comic, how smart this is.
Speaking of which, there is a QR code. It's this way.
This way.
It's mirrored.
This way.
You can scan that. It'll take you right to Kristian's website.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I think for now, because I've reread his book repeatedly, God Country. I'm gonna have to put Donny Cates on there.
Ooh, love Donny
Uh,
Cates.
I know he kind of fell off recently, but like, if people haven't read God Country, they really should. I think God Country is just fantastic. There's also a few other like cartoonists that I like and things like that, but
Well, then at least then I'll ask your Mount Rushmore of artists. Then
Daniel Warren Johnson. That's an easy one.
Yes.
Love Daniel Warren Johnson.
We are all huge fans of Daniel Warren Johnson.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. He's actually bought We Call the Myths before. He
What?
bought it from Colton's table, I think, last year. And I was walking by and I was like, and I saw him, I was like, hey man, that's a really good comic. He's like, all right, thanks. And he just walks away. I'm like, he has no idea I wrote it, but Daniel Warren Johnson for sure. I think right now, because I'm the only series I'm keeping up with actively is Absolute Wonder Woman, is Hayden Sherman. I think Hayden Sherman's just killing it with everything they do. What other artists have I been really big fan of that I buy all their stuff? Andrew McLean is doing a really good job stuff with like his Headlopper. He did like a DC thing recently. And then I'm gonna throw in Xander Cannon because he's not the biggest like creator in the world, but he was actually sitting across from me from C2E2, and I was trying to play it cool the whole time because I've read his Kaiju Max, which is really great. A short story he did called Heck, which is about a guy named Hector who goes to hell.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great. And then he did a recent horror image book called Sleep. That was just 8 issues. And it's like a mystery of like what's going on. But his art feels so kid friendly, but the stories feel so adult friendly. If that makes sense.
Interesting. I guess since this is my favorite thing to ask all creators, what are like, you know, obviously we've teased it a little, but what's like your hot takes?
Do you guys have hot takes while I think about it?
Oh, we have plenty. One of my hot takes is that I'm not the biggest Frank Quality fan. He does the art in a lot of Grant Morrison's books.
He did All-Star Superman, right?
He did
okay.
that. He didn't
All-Star Superman. I understand. I like Grant Morrison's All-Star Superman.
So nothing against him. I think he's a really good artist. That art just does not. Something about it makes my skin a little. I also really don't like Namor at all.
Okay.
That's like, I'm trying to think what else are my like hot takes. Yeah. He's a big Namor fan. Trying to think what else. What else was like hot takes?
Yeah. I think I told somebody this recently, is I don't think Justice League or Avengers should be an ongoing series. They should be mini series or event style comics. That way they feel more special of a team up. I feel like them being an ongoing series doesn't help the coolness of, all these superheroes are teaming up. Like, keep all the individual books and everything. Like, but like the Avengers should be like, you know how like Marvel does an event story every year, like during the summer.
More than one.
Like 5.
They do like 2 or 3 a year, but like during the summer, you just have Avengers and then the storyline. That way, you know it's a 6-issue run or an 8-issue run, and you don't have to worry about continuing to read it. And it will boost that sales for the company and also make it that much more special.
So I want to ask them specifically about Justice League. What if it's a book like Justice League Unlimited that's being written by Mark Waid right now, where every issue it's like almost new characters in the roster? Would you still say that could be a mini, or would you?
I mean, personally, I would still call it mini but that is coming from someone who's not currently reading it, so there's only have so much opinion on it. because like if you look at like I look at business stuff as well. I love stories. I love reading comics, but I look at the business numbers of stuff. The highest selling comics tend to be the standalone characters.
Yeah.
Batman, absolute Batman, Daredevil, things like that. Also, another I don't know if it's a hot take, but there's no such thing as a bad Daredevil comic.
No,
I
that's
think
that, that's a great take. I'm the resident Daredevil man on this channel.
yeah,
I will agree with you. I just, however, think the last run,
Mhm.
not Stephanie Phillips' run, but the last run,
Sure.
I'm completely blanking on the
the
artist.
Darsky one.
Not this, right
No,
after
after
Zdarsky,
Zdarsky.
the
Okay.
entry point. That run is not good. It's not horrible.
It's
Okay.
okay.
It's not bad. It's just as a
That's the thing. Like that's the thing with Daredevil. I can't like people are like it's not bad. It's just not great.
Yeah.
Which for Daredevil comics, there's no such thing as a bad Daredevil comic. There's an okay Daredevil comic or a really good one, and
For
most
sure.
series can have bad series. Like there's bad Spider-Man comics, there's bad Batman comics. I can't think of a really like a bad Daredevil story.
Yeah, man. That's why he's goaded.
Yeah. But
So with you owning your own, like, what do you consider yourself like a publishing house? Like, are you planning on expanding to other creators or?
not currently. I'm still kind of might sound a little egotistical, but I'm still growing my own brand.
Yeah.
But I totally understand. Like I did a show in Savannah, Georgia this past weekend. And right in Savannah is SCAD, which is the Savannah College of Art and Design. A lot of a lot of comic creators come from that school. Um, so there's a lot of students there, and a lot of times they come up and they're like, "Oh, are you accepting submissions? Like, what's the company like? You work for the company?" I'm like, "No, I
I
am
own
the
the
company.
company. Yeah.
I am the company." It's like
I am the
I don't say it
company.
like I don't say it like I'm big dogging them. I say it like, yeah, it's just like a one person kind of thing right now where I'm putting my own money into it. I'm selling comics, more money I make back. I just keep going and so on and so forth. Um, but I think for right now, it's just kind of getting my stories out there and then having a name brand of Cool Ranch Comics that helps kind of give me a little certain of like authenticity of like, hey, this is actually like a publishing company. I got into C2E2 this year because they were like, ooh, Cool Ranch Comics? Yeah, a publishing company? Absolutely, come on in. I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess, yeah, that's me. Because I publish my stories with that I work with other people on, but I make sure my name is on there because, like I said, I'm still creating. I'm still wanting to make more stories. So I'm seen in a different light. So eventually, if it grows to be something cool, that's awesome. But that's like step 10. And I think I'm still on like step 2.
They don't even have the front steps of their own home yet.
Yeah. So I'm like, where you guys are like, people were like, hey, can I pitch a story? I'm like, I'm not at that level yet. I can't submit. I can't like have you submit stories and be like, hey, here's my own money while I do my own day job and this job.
Right. So you don't do this full time then?
It's weird because I do work on it like 30. I feel like I work on it 30 to 40 hours a week. So it's hard saying that I do it part time because I also work at my other job 30 to 40 hours a week. So it's 80 hours a week that I'm doing this stuff. Because my other job is Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
I gotta get insurance. There's no insurance in
Yeah,
comics.
absolutely.
And my wife is following her dreams, so she's doing that while I'm following my dreams and working at a grocery store and getting insurance and discount on groceries is pretty sweet.
No, that's convenient.
Yeah, it is funny because I broke down to like my last therapist about like this is all the stuff I'm doing because I started talking to a therapist because I was like, hey, I need to figure out how to deal with stress. I'm not getting enough sleep. Can you help me out? They're like, well, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I'm doing all this comic stuff, and then I do conventions, and then I do interviews like this, and then I'm constantly getting the name out while I'm working on stuff and getting more comics. Like I literally just got an email like 2 hours ago about the newest issue. It was like, hey, these things need to be fixed from Colton. I was like, okay, yeah, that's cool. But I also just got done with an 8-hour shift earlier today. And then I also had made dinner for me and my wife. And then we had to go look at our house because we were going to go look at it again tomorrow. So I had to get that ready for 8 a.m. And like, I kind of explained everything I was doing with my therapist. She's like, how do you have time for all this?
How do you breathe?
And I'm like, you're not supposed to ask me that. You're supposed to tell me what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong. You can't. No, help me. So it's a lot of like balancing it out too. So it is technically, yes, I am working at it part time, but it's hard for me to fully say, yes, I'm working at it part time when literally this past week I drove 4 hours one way, worked 6 hours, and then had dinner with somebody to talk to them about other stuff, then fell asleep, then emailed a few other people while having breakfast with another, and then had breakfast with another person, worked another 6 hours, and then drove 4 hours back home and got home at like 2 a.m. before I had to go to work at 9 a.m. the next day.
Glad to know we're one of your reasons of stress.
Like, this is a chill thing. You guys messaged me a while ago. That's why, like, when I didn't respond in the first place, it's because I'm super busy. I would tell people, I'm like, I'm always going to respond back. I'm just not going to be the fastest person.
No, we appreciate you taking the time out of your very, very busy schedule.
I know, it's a lot of stuff like that. But, like, this is the fun part. I get to talk about comics. I get to, like, I read a book where, or I'd probably listen to an audiobook while I was driving, but it was finding the suffering you enjoy. Like, life's going to be some suffering regardless. You can't avoid it all. But you have to figure out what you are wanting to get and what the suffering you're willing to get. Those long hours of travel and driving, they're not fun, but it's the suffering I'm willing to do what I want. And that is make comics, talk about comics, create with other people. And so that's kind of the mentality I've been going into for the past 2 years.
Now, sorry to cut you off. So with your Cool Ranch comics and everything, like say you were offered by Marvel or DC to write for them either one shot or ongoing, do you think you would take that opportunity and still write?
Oh, absolutely. I tell people all the time, I would sell out in a heartbeat. No problem at all. Like, yeah, there's a few creators right now that I'm a big fan of. I don't know. Have you guys heard of Rico Renzi? So he's a comic book colorist. He's done Spider-Gwen. He helped create Spider-Gwen. He's done a lot of Marvel books, a lot of DC books, a lot of everything like that. But he works mainstream comics, and then he also does his own stuff. Do you guys know about the Comics Magazine stuff?
Yeah.
He's the art director on it.
Oh, okay.
So he's doing that while also still working for DC and Marvel. And then he makes dumb, fun zines of like, can I remember this cartoon character? Can I draw them? And so that's what he does as well. And like, I want to do that. I want to be able to do my own thing. While still, like, if they Marvel or DC were like, hey, do you want to write this character? I'd be like, yeah, absolutely, in a heartbeat. There was a point where I almost got on a Speed Racer book.
Wait. Oh my
So,
God.
like,
the Speed Racer book out right now is so good.
Yeah, there was talks of them doing like an anthology short story of like from Speed Racer, and I knew the people behind it and editor, and they were like talking to me and Cole about it. And we're like, hey, would that be something you guys are interested in? We're like, yeah, absolutely. We love Speed Racer. We'll totally do that. And I watched the cartoon, I watched the movie and all that. And then after they left and Cole asked, he's like, are you really that big of a fan of Speed Racer? I'm like, dude, I'll be the biggest fan of anything. I don't care. But I was like, as long as I dig it, as long as it's something cool I can come up with, yeah, I would absolutely love to write for that, given a shot.
So I just have to say, I love Speed Racer with my whole heart.
Yeah.
I recently just went to, they are doing a 20th anniversary IMAX screening for it, for the 2008 film. And when I die and people talk about me, they're going to say that that film is the film that got me into filmmaking. Yeah. So anytime anybody mentions anything remotely Speed Racer, I get this big stupid grin because I love it so much.
The movie's great. I love it. But like that's one of the things where like absolutely I would happily do that. If they were like, hey, do you want to write this My Little Pony story? I'm the biggest My Little Pony fan in the world. I can do that.
So if DC and Marvel, you know, or DC, Marvel, and Image, they say, oh, you know, we want you to write for this character, who is like your ideal top choices?
I know I picked long ago. Somebody asked that. I only know for Marvel and DC. Image is kind of like you kind of get to do your own thing.
Yeah.
I don't know of any like other IP characters that they've like. I don't want to touch Walking Dead or Invincible because like those are just really good stories already.
Yeah.
For like Marvel and DC, I know for Marvel I would want to do Miles Morales Spider-Man because I just love that character. And then Daredevil. Like I said, there's no bad Daredevil, so I feel like it's an easy dub for me. And then it's fun to do more grounded characters. For DC, I would love to do kind of a Red Hood Nightwing style story. I love Red Hood. I feel like they haven't given him like chance to grow up yet, and I think there's cool stories you can do where it's not so much anger towards Batman anymore, but like talking to his siblings. He had an older brother. I think I tell people this all the time. I've been telling people this. That's why, in case they never do this story, I think it's really cool. But I had an idea that if they ever did a Nightwing or Red Hood story, it would talk about how Red Hood felt ditched by Nightwing whenever he became Robin. He's like, as soon as I became Robin, you just stopped talking to Batman and me. And I was just stuck with this crazy old man. And you weren't there as a brother. And Nightwing kind of has that self-realization. He's like, I wasn't a good older brother. I should have been a better brother. And it's kind of just that growth.
I would read that in a heartbeat.
So yeah,
yeah.
Because I have siblings too. I love them to death, but I also get very annoyed with them. I was literally talking to my sister today, and we were just. It was my sister, and my wife, and me and my sister were talking, and then it got escalated. Have you guys ever seen Malcolm in the Middle?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it feels like that sometimes. We're like, we love each other, but we start arguing and getting. No one makes me more mad than my family. And that's what it is.
There's like, because my brother goes to school with me.
Mm-hmm.
All of our friends, because we all have mutual friends, they're like, you know, Max, we never see you like angry until Tommy starts talking.
Yep.
I'm like Anthony saw it when we were at C2E2. He just, I love him to death, but he brings just something out of me that just.
Yep.
They're a very loud family, I will say that. They'll scream up and down the stairs to each other. They need to just install an intercom system and be done with it.
I had a similar incident a couple of weeks ago with my little brother because since I'm moved in with my mom's basement right now. Like, I've been working at Trader Joe's for I think 7 years now, almost 8 years, and I wear a Hawaiian shirt, and it's it's a super hot day, whatever. I'm wearing my black jeans and I have a Hawaiian shirt, and my little brother's like, "Where are you going?" I said, "The F you mean, where am I going?" He's like, I'm like, "Where do you think I'm going?" He's like, "The beach." I'm like, "In black jeans? I'm going to work." He's like, "Why are you wearing a Hawaiian shirt?" I'm like, "I've worked here for so long. You applied at this job." He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, it just gets me so mad. So yeah, I I love sibling. I have a creator-owned idea that I talked with Colton about doing like a horror story that has to do with siblings as well. That I
I
think
thought you
would
were
do
gonna say
really
with
well.
Trader Joe's.
No, I do. I do have something else for Trader Joe's as well. Just retail wise, that I think would be fun. But yeah,
Well,
it's
you can.
all.
I was gonna say, if you do this retail store, you can ask Fanboy. Fanboys are a certified retail worker.
Yeah.
Grocery store.
Where do you work
I
at?
love it. Yay.
He also works at a grocery store.
Yeah. Dude, I get it, man. That's where I do. I mean, it's one of the only 2 recession-proof jobs. It is a grocery store and working at a funeral home because everyone eats and everyone dies. Other people be like, oh, and also being a CPA and doing taxes. I'm like, I know a few people that don't pay their taxes and they stress me out. So I don't think that's true.
He says that as he's looking in a mirror for some reason.
No, I'm afraid of the IRS. I don't do that. I don't mess with them. If you ever watch the old Batman animated series,
I was just thinking that scene.
Yeah, with that
Joker's
Joker.
like,
he's like, I'm crazy enough to fight Batman, but not the IRS.
I love that scene.
Yeah, I've never felt more like I've never connected with Joker ever until that moment.
Coming soon on Kickstarter, Kristian's horror story that involves the IRS.
Yeah, no, I'm avoiding that. I'd rather be off their radar completely. I tell people I'm not a baby. I'm just a coward. So, but yeah. So Red Hood would be the character, and then Booster Gold because I think I could do some fun stories with him.
Dude, he's the GOAT.
Yeah,
I love Booster Gold.
I would do very similar to the Justice League Unlimited show, where his whole story would be like constantly trying to get praise for all the good things he does, and no one sees it.
Dude, that's my favorite episode.
And it just gets progressively bigger and bigger, and people notice even less and less.
I would buy that day one. Day one.
So buy day one. I have a running joke with my dad because he watches all this stuff with me. And every time we see anything Booster Gold related, I'm like, hey, look, it's your favorite character ever.
Yeah. It's good. He's the hero I think a lot of people would be. So.
Yeah.
Well, they keep having those talks whether or not that show's gonna come about. They're like, oh, this Green Lantern show that's gonna happen.
Oh, I was just thinking about that today.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen one of these days.
So,
yeah,
when you're not doing comic book stuff or, doing your job or just, what's a relaxing evening look like for you?
It's going to become a surprise. Before I got on this interview, so like I was making dinner for me and my wife. I watch a lot of wrestling whenever I can. That's like the one time I can turn off my brain.
Yeah.
So like I'm able to put that on the background while I'm cooking or eating and then just go brain dead for a bit. Obviously collecting Pokemon cards is something. I've just been collecting older ones. I'm avoiding paying a lot of money for them. That's the big thing. I'm trying not to cross that boundary. And then luckily a lot of my coworkers are nerds. So they all have like the old Pokemon games on their Switch. And they're like, how far are you? I'm like, I'm not very far because while I'm in bed and like those 2 hours that I'm playing, I'm like, I'll just play this for 15 minutes. And then I'm just in bed playing Pokemon for like 2 to 3 hours. So that's kind of what I've been trying to do as well. Just finding that time to do that.
So you mentioned wrestling. Me and Anthony are both kind of getting back into wrestling.
Okay, cool.
Do you have a favorite wrestler at the moment? What do you like? Are you watching AWE, WWE?
I've been watching AEW mostly. I keep up with WWE because Cody Rhodes is my guy.
Yes.
He grew up. He lives in the same state of me. I think he literally lives like 15 minutes from where I work. So yeah, he's been my day one guy since like beginning of his WWE career. And then him going to AEW was really cool. Him leaving AEW, I wasn't happy about. And then he's doing really well in WWE despite them trying to screw him over repeatedly.
Yeah.
So he's been my number one guy for WWE. AEW, it's been like the Young Bucks, Hangman, Adam Page, and Swerve Strickland. I think them, and then Willow Nightingale, love her.
So another person that came from AEW that's now thriving in the WWE is Danhausen.
Yes,
and
I got a picture.
What?
Yeah, so it was 2 years ago at C2E2. So it's so funny. There's if you guys like wrestling and you like wrestling comics, you guys should check out Headlock Comics. It's a guy who's kind of goes around, has like his own wrestling comic, but he also works with like real wrestlers on telling stories and stuff like that.
Okay.
He worked with Danhausen on comics before, so he knew him. And then but he got introduced because a buddy of mine knew Danhausen because they both grew up as like weird Jewish boys. Their words exactly, not mine.
That's what Max is. My word.
So, they grew up that way, and they were like, "Oh, we both like comics, cool." And so he knew him, and he's like, "You should go talk to." It's not that hard to figure out his name, but like his shoot name, if you guys care about it, is Donovan. So my buddy would be like, "Yeah, you should go talk to Donovan." I'm like, "Who the hell is Donovan?" He's like, "Oh, sorry, Danhausen. I know him by first name." I'm like, "Whatever, dude."
That's awesome.
So every time I'd be like, "Hey, how are you and Donovan doing, man?"
That's great. I was gonna say I've been enjoying Cody Rhodes a lot more. CM Punk has always been my guy. So
I love CM Punk, but his whole AEW, like the ending of his AEW run, really hurt me. But my wife hates CM Punk.
I'm sorry, I gotta represent Chicago, man.
Look, I get it. Well, it's so funny. The first time she's gonna hate that I tell this story. The first time she was in Chicago, because she came with me, and she's like, "God, why does the state love CM Punk so much?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "They have all these CM Punk flags here." I'm like, "You do know that's the Chicago flag?" Yes. She's never been to Chicago. She's only seen CM Punk like on AEW and a little bit of WWE before. That's all she knew. And I was like, "Oh, honey, no, that's Chicago."
That's so funny.
Speaking of wrestling comics, one of our someone that we interviewed, our first interview that we did was Kyle Starks, and he's
I saw a little bit of that.
Wrestle Heist. I definitely would recommend checking that out if you're into wrestling comics.
I'm a big fan of Kyle Starks stuff. He was one of the first guys I went up to when I wanted to make comics and be like, "Hey, I want to make a comic," and he's like, "All right, do it. Leave me alone." I was like, "Okay." He wasn't that mean, but it's really funny. Kyle, we know of each other. I think he knows me by my first name, but he's always like, because I see him at shows. We both do a lot of shows. And it's like, "Hey man, how's it going?" And then like one time I'm like talking with some other friends, and he's like, "Man, dude, you're always smiling. Why?" I'm like, "Hey, sorry, Kyle, my bad, dude." But like, yeah, I've read his stuff before. I think Rock Candy Mountain was one of his first things that I've read, and I highly recommend reading that because I cried while reading it, and I think it's a beautiful story.
He's our dad.
Yeah, we call him our dad.
I think a lot of people at shows call him Uncle Kyle because he's just like, he's the best kind of curmudgeon old man. There's times where I'm talking to him, I was like, "Hey man, how's it going?" He's like, "It's fine. Not enough people are buying my comic." I'm like, "All right, dude. Good luck. Have fun." He's like, "Yeah, they only care about all this Rick and Morty comics I'm writing right now." I was like, "Yeah, it's weird, dude. You're writing a popular series."
He's the good version of a curmudgeon old guy compared to a certain DC writer who shall remain nameless unless Max wants to bring him up.
I guess we should.
I wouldn't recommend bringing it up on. So here's the thing. comics industry is so small, and it's so like
We've already dragged him enough times.
yeah. I don't know who.
Oh yeah. So
You can plead the fifth on this one, Kristian.
Yeah.
so I worked C2E2, and I had a little bit of time to walk around the floor, and one of my objectives was for this year was to meet writers and artists and meet a lot of different people. But I was walking around and I saw this table at the end and I was like, oh, I know this guy. I'm gonna go up to him and say hello. This man was Jeff Loeb. And I'm very critical of Jeff Loeb, but I would say I'm a somewhat of a fan of him. And just the interaction that I had with him, because I was like, hey, I really like Daredevil Yellow. It's something I've read many times. I think it's a good book. The interaction I had with him was not what I would say to be a very
The most pleasant.
yes. And it's just something that happened, and
Yeah. So I don't know if it's repeatedly happened. You're not the only person I've ever heard tell stories about like I had a bad experience with this creator and all that. And I'm doing shows a lot. Like I'm nowhere near the level of like Jeff Loeb or Starks and stuff like that.
I like the scale that we're working on here.
I mean, look, dude. If I wrote like Halloween, the Long Halloween, then yeah, I could probably be like, F off, kid. I don't know.
yeah.
I still never want to get to that point. So part of the reason I wanted to be in the comic industry is because I got to meet George Perez, the creator of like co-creator of like a lot of Teen Titans characters.
Yep.
Cyborg, he designed the Nightwing, the very first Nightwing suit, which had like the very long,
I love that suit.
Yeah, I love it. It's great. I was like in high school when I met him at a show, and I was like a big fan. I was like, "Hey, can you sign my comic?" Like, he's like, "Yeah, absolutely, dude, of course." And I was just like, that interaction was so lovely because that's the guy who worked on Wonder Woman, who's worked on Superman, like all the big name characters. Like, he created a lot of, he did the big art in the 80s and 90s, and that's the guy who's done really well in the comic industry. He could be like, yeah, sure, whatever, here you go, next. But he was like, yeah, man, dude, thank you so much for getting these comics. And yeah, absolutely, I'll sign them. I'm just glad you're a big fan of it. I was like, yeah, totally. And I was so nervous. And I was like, okay, thank you. And I started walking. He's like, hey, do you want a picture together? If you want, of course. I was like, yeah, thank you.
You fell to the floor.
It felt like that. But there's a very young picture of me with George Perez, and that was the first like real comic book creator I met, and it was such a lovely experience. And I'm like, I want to be one of those people. I want to be one of those good people, and that's part of the reason why Kelly Sue DeConnick and Matt Fraction are both in my Mount Rushmore, because they've been nothing but lovely every time I've talked to them when I was just a fan, and now I'm a comic creator. But like, there are certain creators who are just like, they feel scorned by the world, and I understand that's happened, and sometimes they take it out on the fans, and that's not right. And then there's others who are like, hey, I'm here to make money, I need to make money, and I get it. I'm at a lucky point where like going to the show, like you came over and asked me to sign the comic that you bought from Colton. Totally cool. We're splitting the money, so it's whatever, but it's like $5 between the two of us. It's whatever. I'm not looking for customers when I'm at those shows. I'm at a point now where I'm looking for readers. I want to make sure I'm talking with people. I want to make sure your experience with me is such a good moment that whenever you're like, hey, that was really cool, I want to go read more comics. Maybe read more of his comics too. Jeff Loeb doesn't really care about that stuff right now. He doesn't need to.
Right.
But like, that could have been your first experience with meeting any creator, and that would have been a bad one. And I apologize that happened, even though I had nothing to do with it.
For sure. And I do want to say, like, you telling this George Perez story. My first C2E2, I went on a whim with my brother and my dad, and there was do you know who Sean Gordon Murphy is?
Yeah, absolutely.
Love that man to death.
Yeah.
But I was in his line, and I had bought 2 posters, and I was standing next to my dad, and my dad doesn't read any comics; he kind of just watches stuff. And he looks over at me, and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Dad, what if this guy just isn't nice?" And he's like, "It's okay. You'll be fine. You'll be fine."
Yeah.
And I got up, and I was just this nervous wreck, and just he was so nice, so kind.
Yeah.
I quite literally have the poster, like I'm looking at this right now. It's got a little sketch drawing of Batman. And at the very end, he's like, "Do you want a picture?" And I said, "Sure." And he was like, "Oh, we're gonna flip the bird. We'll just make sure your dad doesn't see it."
Yeah.
And just people like that. And so it's what I love about all of this. It's like, we get to do this. We get to meet people like this, and meet people like you who just are so passionate about this work.
Yeah. And also, I think it's like that's great. I think Sean Morph. I've only heard good things about him. I think he's also like his stories are really good as well, and just being a good person. It's a small community, so everyone hears everything. I think it's funny if anytime people try to be like the rock stars of comics and try to be like, yeah, dude, I'm right Spider-Man. It's like, okay, no one outside of the comics world knows who you are. It's just like, I think it's the funniest thing. Like, there are people who are more popular. Daniel Warren Johnson. Everyone loves him. I think everyone's great. That guy posts pictures of him golfing, and no one outside of a comic convention or a comic store knows who he is just because he looks like some dude who plays guitar out of a van every other day. But he's living a good life. He's having fun, and he's like, his art's selling for a lot of money, and he could play it as like, yeah, I'm a pretty big deal. But he's like, it's comics, man. I get to make a living, and I'm very blessed and lucky about it. And there's no need to be like big dogging it, I guess. So it's very important. It's supposed to be a grounded medium too.
For sure.
Yeah, I can tell you went to business school.
Hey, I had to go to school somehow. I hate drawing. I like telling stories. I didn't figure that out until halfway through college.
That's fair. So I think, we're going to wrap it up here. So that way you can get some rest, play like, I don't know, maybe let's limit it to like 30 minutes tonight on the Switch.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see if I do that. I'm trying to catch all the legendary Fire Red right now.
The Kickstarter just closed for Myths?
Yeah, it ended, I think, about a week ago.
Yeah.
Late pledges are still open for about a month.
There. It's probably on there somewhere.
But yeah, it'll be open for another month. And then we're hoping to finish that up, have it out by June. And then I already wrote the 4th and final issue of the story. I just got to edit it a little bit.
Only 4 issues.
We're gonna do 4 issues for now. Here's the other thing, Colton. I've told people this before. Colton's like, "Hey, for the next story arc, we'll do this, and then for the 3rd story arc, we'll do this." I'm like, "Hey, bud, let's finish this first, and then we can figure out what we're doing."
He's like, "But I already drew all this."
Yeah. Well, we have ideas of where we want to go after this too. So it's just we want to make sure we finish this story first, and we're very proud of it.
I'd say go support him and support everything this man does.
Yes,
it's very down to earth. Some people are calling him the reverse Jeff Loeb.
Thank you.
Call me Indie Darling too, so I'll take that.
Yeah, I'll just refresh on the titles. We got Kickstarter King of Comics and Indie Darling, so go check him out. That's gonna do it all for us today. So bye.
Bye.
Thank you guys. See ya.
Yeah.